Be blessed, everyone.
Hello, everybody. I'm coming to you from the Sanctuary of Dallas. I am Elise, and the Sanctuary of Dallas is hosting, the Total Fitness Ministry is hosting this because we recognize that there is a need. There is a need for awareness. There is a need for us to be more preventative. So with that being said, we decided that every quarter we would take an opportunity to highlight various different awareness months, days, or events that are going on. And with that being said, because of the fact that we understand our value as people of color, we understand our value in our organs, the value in our skin, the value in our melanin, we recognize that we've got to take the opportunity to enlighten those that we love and we care about because we want to stop human trafficking. And with that being said, I met this young lady probably about 2 years ago, and I found her to be such a sweetheart, and it intrigued me because I recognize that she is such a wonderful person. And I know a lot of people judge her because of how she looks and how she dresses. And one thing that she said to me when I first encountered her is that she's like, I just want to have friends too. I'm a woman. I just want to be friends. I might dress differently. I might, worship differently, but I just want to have friends. And with that, I found myself connecting with her because we're kindred spirits. We are very concerned about our people. We're concerned about our community. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce you to one of our featured guests, Sister Danielle X, and she can then also introduce her guest, Sister Tiffany X.
Yes. Good morning, greetings everybody. I am Sister Danielle X, a proud member of the Nation of Islam. And if friend to many, you all hear me great. And me and Sister Elise met actually at UNT here in Dallas campus, and we worked on a panel discussion about our communities and how to be able to merge ideas, how to be able to help the Black women to stand in such a harsh world, it seems at times. And so with that, her and I have grown and have worked a lot together. And I'm very thankful for the opportunity. I want to introduce my close friend and my sister, Tiffany X. And her and I, we work to be able to bring awareness on conversations about sex trafficking and also loving yourself. What does that look like? Oftentimes we have gone through much pain, much discomfort, abuse, and things like that. So her area is bringing out of you the best that you have deep and down within yourself, because we go through a lot. And she will be able to help us with that conversation. But I want to go into my area, the good stuff, right? And that is sex trafficking, human trafficking, organ harvesting. Now, we see it on TV, we see it in the newspapers, we hear about it in conversation. Somebody may be missing in your community. They post the Amber Alert sometimes. And with that, it had to be something that we must do in our communities and bring an awareness to this conversation. And the question is, why don't we hear about people in the community missing? There is a child missing every 3 minutes. Just imagine on your clock, even this conversation that we're having right now, every 3 minutes a child is missing. A child of color, a child that was just playing in their front yards, a child at Walmart, at the grocery store, out of a shopping cart with their parents, a young lady who's going to the grocery store to go get some eggs and milk or butter for her home and never be able to go back home. This is a reality. And we go into stores very blindly. We go to church blindly. Nothing on this planet is obsolete or untouchable to where people that sit and marinate on these things to be able to attack women. And Black women, our organs are worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. So we hear these things briefly and being able to say, okay, well, what can we do to help these things? I'm going to give you our preventive measures on what to do and what not to do, okay? So we look at the word prevention. So what is prevention? Things you want to do in advance, because you don't want to have a shoulda, coulda, woulda motion. When you go to the grocery store, when you go to work, or when you go to take your child to daycare, we have to come up with game plans now. We can't just walk in motion like zombies, because there's somebody watching you. Sounds kind of Jeepers Creepers, you know, yeah, it does. And you see it on TV. But I tell people all the time that the TV, the movie, had to come from a plot. They didn't just generate it, writing out a script with an imagination in their mind. These are actual live situations that are happening before our very eyes. So we have to make sure that when we leave our homes, even when you're in your homes, your house has to be set up to prevent things from happening when you're in the house. Some people carry guns. We in the nation, we don't carry much as a penknife. We have to be able to make other means to be able to protect yourself. These can be a weapon. Easy. Your arm can be a weapon. Your fingers can be considered a weapon. So you don't have to go to the dramatic things, but some people feel comfortable with doing so, and we don't knock them. But even when you're at home, you have to make sure you find ways to prevent yourself and your family from being harmed. So everybody, I want them to go into their phones, and I want them to Google the word, or find the definition of the word prevention. I want you to look at it. Take time, look at your phone, your dictionary, which would be even better, but I want you to look at the word prevention. And I want you to start looking at that more often and see with your everyday motion, do you do things every day that can help you to be preventive from happening to you and your family? What is awareness? This conversation is awareness. Moving out to be able to study. You have YouTube. Some things can be true, some things are not true. But you can go on YouTube and check out some things, or just the definition alone of what is awareness. Your daughter's learning how to cross their ankles in church. Your daughter's wearing modest clothes. That's awareness. Being able to speak when spoken to. That can be awareness. Because you open up an opportunity of conversation with strange people when you get the bump in your mouth. But you want to be able to be aware of what's going on around you, because you may say something and they have a response to what you say, and now you have opened up something, but are you aware of the cause and effect of that conversation? You're not. Because your mind is somewhere else, because you didn't really even think or look at what's really going on. So that could be awareness. Being aware of everything. Was my keys moved at my desk at work? Was my coffee mug moved at my desk at work? My car was locked when I got in it, when I went into the house to go to the garage. Now one of my doors is unlocked. When I went and pumped my gas, I got all my doors unlocked in my car. I'm on the cell phone pumping gas, and so I'm not watching what's going in my car. Then I get back in my vehicle, put my car in drive, and then he in the back seat. And now he done grab you by your throat, telling you to go to the closest ATM machine, but you weren't aware because you bumping your gums on the cell phone, and you were not aware. Now you're stuck into a position where you have to ram your car into a wall to prevent him from harming you. Could have been prevented because you weren't aware. Now think about threats. What's a threat? You can be your own threat. Your attire can be a threat to yourself. Your mouth can be a threat to yourself. Posting everything that you have in your life on social media can be a threat. You are your own nuisance. I'm going on vacation tomorrow, you all. Not everybody knows that your house is open. Your children could possibly be home by themselves. Your dog could be outside. They could harm your animal by feeding your dog poison and kill it. Now you come home to a carcass of the animal you left because you let that be. People watch. I'm telling you all, they're very, very aware of their surroundings. It's interesting because you think about your everyday motion, right? I'm moving around, I'm doing my everyday life, but it's individuals on the outside who study human behavior. They study how you think, how you react, how you respond, how you sit, how you chew, how you walk. They watching you. It seems scary, weird, but it's a reality. So we have to make sure that we put ourselves in a very safe place. We can't prevent everything from happening. And we'll go into that in a minute. But definitely want to be aware of our surroundings. Now, I want to be able to look at, I want everybody who's listening to the sound of my voice to start at 100 in your mind. Give everybody 100. And as we have this conversation, I want to be able to, you grade yourself on your preventive measures. And see how safe and secure you think that you really are in your mind. You'll find out at the end of the conversation that you may have some work that needs to be done. Because you could be an open threat, okay? Now we're looking into the harm of a cell phone. How many of us actually go into a grocery store, we're guilty as charged? charge of going into a grocery store or CVS or work or even coming to our homes and we're on our phones? How often does that happen? How many of us go outside past dark? How many of us walk freely? I'm grown. Okay, he is too. Grown man, 280-pound grown man is ready for you. Okay? How many of us travel by ourselves? Even with having children, you shouldn't travel by yourself. Because if you have 3 children and you're traveling alone and he sees, only thing he has to do is grab one and your whole security measures of self is gone. If he grabs your daughter out of the shopping cart, your first thing as a woman we do, we panic. He's gone. Now you left the other one vulnerable. So maybe somebody coming from this side who's going to grab that one. So if you have multiple children, don't travel to the grocery store by yourself. Don't go nowhere by yourself. How often do we befriend people on social media as friends? How many of us actually know who all of our friends on social media are? Not many. Social media could be a good thing, and they formulate social media and Facebook to be a format of networking, business networking. That's what it was made for. We take it to a whole different level. We're doing live on this, we're doing live on that. We're telling everybody our business. We have a newborn grandbaby, a newborn nephew. Put the baby picture on social media with the baby's full name. Then the baby goes somewhere in the grocery store. The people know the baby's name because you said it, right? So then that child may go to the store with you and, hey, Matthew. And they're looking, come here, Matthew. And they're going to go because they know the name. It's natural. Come. Have to be careful. Sex trafficking, human trafficking, and organ harvesting are a real and a billion-dollar industry in our very eyes. Y'all remember the incident that happened with the young man that was found in the school mats in the gymnasium?
Yes.
He was wrapped up and his body was tossed in between the gymnasium mats. They couldn't find him. Where did he go? He was at school. When they discovered him, his body was glued together and his organs were missing. Now, you've ever heard the saying that I'm worth $1 million? Man, I feel like I'm worth $1 million. Guess what? You are. Your stomach, your kidneys, your liver, your heart, your teeth, your eyeballs, your skull. They buy these things. And for those of darker skin, Mexicans, Indians, and blacks, they take your melanin out. That gives them a high. And they can't take those things from you while you're dead. They have to take it from you while you're living. So they lay you out, cut your organs out, put them in a cooler, and some $1 million man in a new kidney. You're vulnerable. They see you jogging at the park with your earbuds in, security breach. You're running, la 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 la. Guess what? They're gonna lay you out, cut you up, take your organs out, sell it. Now, there's people in other countries like India, and they're promised, we'll give you $1,000 for your stomach or your kidneys or your liver because you have 2 kidneys. We'll take one of your kidneys and we'll pay you and we'll give you food for the next year. And they do, they're hungry. These are foreign countries who need food and money. They don't have jobs like we do here in America. And then they'll come and take their organs out and then never pay them. Because they're worth so much and they love children organs. Oh my gosh. They're new. And they even go into the fact of eating organs. We see it on TV as vampires, but it really happens. I don't mean to take nobody out and be like, this is a strange conversation, but it's a reality. We have to wake up. Okay? Now, what do you do to prevent ourselves from being taken in and being a victim of these things? Not much is stated on TV because it's a bigger plot than we understand. We're at the bottom of the totem pole, they think in their eyes. Oh, okay. We don't have to teach them nothing. We'll throw an Amber Alert every week, once a week. We'll throw an Amber Alert, some missing, a Cadillac or a silver Honda, and they'll put it on the big screen on the freeway. And, oh my God, everybody's phone will beep. But if our phone was to go off for every Amber Alert, our phone will constantly go off for Amber Alerts. That'll be alarming for your phone to go off every 3 minutes. They don't want that. Now, how many of us go into the grocery stores and we get to the car, got our phone here, and we dig in our purse for our keys? Who does that? Or you get to your front door and it's dark outside and you outside dark, right? And you feeling for the house key. Who does that? It's somebody in front of your house watching you. And sisters, stop going home the same way every day. Change your route. Delay it a couple of seconds. Don't come home from work at 5:05 every day. Routine is good, but when you're traveling, you want to keep your pattern offset so they can't pick up everything that you do. Dang, she's behind schedule. And it makes it obvious because you'll see the same car in front of your house. Or the same guy at your job coming to your desk every day at 10:02. Why is he always at my desk? Or even her. Because she may know somebody who knows somebody who's part of their industry. And their job is to lure you in. Befriend her, make her feel comfortable. Take her out to dinner for a couple of months. Then get her comfortable and relax with you. Y'all friends now going to the club and going to church. Going to the mosque, and at that very moment, that guy who thought that was your friend, or that girl who thought she'll change you over and give you over to the pimps, the predators, the sex predators, her job was to get you comfortable with her. Now you done got caught up. Now you in her trunk. What you gonna do? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Give me your phone. Now you don't have nothing. And don't say nothing. You say something, I'm gonna cut you open, or I'm gonna kill your children. Don't scream. What we do? We panic. How many of us go to the ATM machine at night? How many of us go to the ATM machine by ourselves in the daytime? Because they done got so gangster that they'll even jack you in the daytime. They'll hide behind the ATM machine while you reaching your whole body out the window. You here. Trying to reach, because you park wrong. Because you're supposed to be close enough, but even with that, it's still space for him to come from behind the ATM machine, draw all your money out, and get in the back seat. What you gonna do? You gonna follow instructions. You gonna listen. So you're here, type the key in, boom, got the money out, you crawl in your back seat. Now he's controlling you.
Wow.
Now, I want to go into attacks. Many of us some of us have been molested. Some have been in domestic violent relationships. You've been choked, you've been beat, you've been grabbed, you've been strangled, you've been shot. So your intuition and your nerves are kind of jacked up.
Right. Yeah.
Now nerves. So now I go from that relationship to another relationship to another relationship to another relationship. Now I'm in another relationship and I got babies everywhere. Or you might just only have one. You might not have any. But in your psychological space, you become numb to pain. So you may become promiscuous. You may completely cut all of that out of your life. But in a relationship, if a guy touches you or even attempts to grab you, you freak out. Or you hear loud yelling. You don't want to hear altercations nowhere because you've been in a relationship where you have heard too much yelling. Even as a child, your parents may have yelled too much. And so when that comes, you re-stimulate it. Yes. So you shut down. Or he may be the perfect man for you, but he may have had a bad day at work. Darn it! Bam! You freak out. Okay. And what's wrong with you? Nothing, I'm good. Because you never talk about your pain to nobody. Because you feel about holding your pain, or the abortions you had, or the miscarriages you had, you numb it. Because you don't want to talk about it. Those things affect your security measures. So if a man does come grab you in a grocery store, guess what you're going to do? The same thing that happened to you. you're gonna freak out. It takes 2 seconds to get you out of the store in the car. You're on your way. So a man come behind you with a gun to your back. He ain't gotta even have a weapon. His voice alone, the bass, the tempo of his voice to you, let's go. Don't scream. You're gonna freak out. So in that, we have to address the pain that we have gone through in our life to prevent you from going through further measures of issues. And sometimes I can speak for me. This is why I do what I do, you all. Because if you've ever been touched and violated as a child, you have a certain energy in your space. And I always ask the Creator, God, why did you allow me to go through what I went through at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. By a family member. Why did you allow that to happen to me? So I had a lot of hate as a child, a lot of resentment, a lot of frustration, a lot of shutdowns. But now I'm able to understand that it's my duty and responsibility, it's Tiffany's duty and responsibility to come before you all and teach you all to prevent what happened to us to not happen to you all or your children. I have a daughter. I can't prevent her and protect her from everything. I can't. But as long as she knows and is aware of what could possibly happen, who wants to be in the trunk of anybody's car? Who wants to be found in a ring of women being molested 6, 7, 8 times a day by strange men coming in and out of this room with you doped up with an IV in your arm because you on your cell phone in the parking lot? You got to understand it's men out here who are hungry, physically hungry, who has a family at home, and they found out if you bring one girl to me, we'll pay you $1,000. Just bring her. You don't have to even harm her. Just get her here, and we'll take it from there. You know how many men do that? How many women do that? How many of us ride a Lyft and an Uber and just hop ourselves in the car? You ain't asking no questions, and here you are. You ain't watching the returns he done made, she has made. You just in this phone. And that's when you know you pull up the car stop and you looking like, this ain't the. I want to go to 775, so and so. Get a car. But you wasn't even checking it out. Who'd you communicate that you would get in this car with? I tell everybody when you get into a Lyft or an Uber, you verify before you even put your physical body in the car, check the license plate. Make sure it matches. I don't want paper tags. Okay? Because I want to watch and see. I'm matching the license plate with my phone. Then we get to, I'm going to ask you, what is your name? I see what your name is. Your name is Tom. What's your name? My name is Tom. Okay. Check them out first. The thing about how God created the human being, we have what's called common sense. You got to use it. But many of us have not used it so long, you push it so back that you can't even hear the God speaking to you. Because you don't use it enough. Now you're here. Okay. So you get in the car and you're not checking out. Watch the map on you. They give you a map. Watch the map on your phone, and when something is going or deviating against the map on your phone, guess what you need to do? Approach it. Before I go there, make sure your child lock is not on, and make sure your windows are not locked. Yes. Before you put your body in the car, you check the door out. Okay, hold on 1 second. You want to go on the other side of the car, check that door too. He gonna look at you straight. She's strange. Every time. Every time. Get in the car, you rolling, and you're watching. That's right. Okay, you made it left. Good. Okay. Alert. Because best believe if anything happens, this foot that you have, sisters, and many of us wear heels, use that heel, go clean through that window. If you have to. Or even the headrest that goes in front of you in the back seat, that headrest, those little knobs on the back of the headrest, push those buttons in, lift the headrest up, and bust it through the window. It's a weapon. even for him or her. Keys are a beautiful weapon as well. Somebody bother you, all you gotta do is put your key between your fingers and use that as a weapon. Somebody harms you. Mindful. I'm gonna do a technique I have on here, so excuse me. I wanna go over something. Tiffany, I wanna go over something that we many times see that happens to us. Now, we're walking. Greetings, you all. How y'all doing? Oftentimes we're walking and we are oftentimes grabbed from the back. Okay? So if somebody comes in and grabs you from behind, this is not natural for you. That's why you have to be aware of your surroundings. The first thing you want to be able to do is this. Y'all see this? It expands your neck. Okay? And also, you want to get air. I need air. I need to breathe. You can't function if you don't have any air. But before you even get to this situation, before I even get here, what I was not doing was what? I wasn't being aware of my surroundings. If somebody gets this close to you to where they can come behind you, this is not good. Now, in that, I want to be able to use my body. Shift your body to the side. You can do this to the stomach, you can hit to the groin area, or you can hit to the face. Your goal is to be able to give away. I can break my arm, but I wouldn't. You know, you want to not be Wonder Woman. You're trying to be Wonder Woman or Shiva in the grocery store. Wrong time, wrong place. Your job is to be able to get away so you get home to your children. That's your goal, right? So I want to be able to get her off of me. You can hit the stomach, the groin area, the face. Now, with the groin area, we only think that men hurt there. No. Females, that hurts for a woman too. Very uncomfortable pain. And don't do it lightly. Because you're panicking. You got to go quick. They grab you. You got a 300-pound man grabbing you. Because you have to understand, you were caught off guard. She's not. He's not. He came with a mission. He came with an agenda. He saw you come out your car in the grocery store. And be mindful too. Not saying they're all security officers. Not saying they're all police officers. But a lot of them be in on this game. They get paid too. So you have them at Walmart watching. They ain't watching. They watching. But they ain't watching. So case being with that, you're thinking that they're there to protect you. Some of them are there for money under the table. Yes. We got to get a certain quota for the day. We got to get a certain quota for the month. Because I tell you all, it ain't just always the average Tom, Ray, and Pookie and them that's doing these motions. We're looking at billion-dollar people. This is a billion-dollar industry. Now, case being with that, you're looking at dope, drugs. Okay, you smoke some weed, you hit a line, you gotta go do what? Re-up and go buy some more cocaine. You gotta go buy some more weed. But with a woman, you can use that one person's body over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. You over here, you over there, and they paying you $1,000 a pop. So every time a man touches you, that pimp or that person is getting paid off of your body. And then once he gets done with you, now you go into what's called human trafficking. You become a maid. You start picking cotton again. It's happening in 2020. Yep. You start picking strawberries. You start doing and assisting, helping they raise their children. It's the same thing. So you want to be able to prevent yourself from even that. So when you do go in a store, watch your environment. Because if a person comes and grabs you from behind you all, this right here is I can control her. I can control her. As a woman, I have her. But imagine me being 300 pounds. This is lightweight. Give me your children. What's she gonna do? You've been through a domestic relationship. You've been abused by a man. This feels familiar, doesn't it? You're not thinking about this moment. You're thinking about that. You remember when he choked the heck out of you and you almost died in front of your children. That came to the forefront of your mental. You're not thinking about Walmart carts and the ketchup on the shelf. No, you ain't thinking about that. So we want to be able to watch that. Now, if somebody comes and grabs you from the front, same thing. You can hit here. You can kick him. Kick him. We do a lot of talking on social media. God will whoop up. You ain't gonna do nothing. God, I used to be back in the day. I used to be, that was all me. Sit down. He's a trained killer. So that little hood train you think you got is gonna get you butt far, because the first thing you're gonna do anyway is talk. Bumping your gums. Now you hemmed up. So what happened when you felt that way when you was in the trunk of the car? Now who's bumping? Shut up. Now I need you. I got you where I want you. Now I need you to go find me 5 youth between the ages of 18 and 25. I need you to bring them to me. And if you don't, I'm gonna kill your children. What you gonna do? And if you go to the police, it don't matter, because they in on it too. See, you have people who are prostitutes who drive around, walk around in Oak Cliff, Pleasant Grove, on Harry Hines. We think those individuals to be people who are volunteering to be out there. They're forced to do that. Yes. I need $500 today. And if you don't bring me $500, I'm gonna beat you, put you in this hotel, and I'm gonna feed you for a week. You don't eat for a week. And most girls who are part of their life, the first thing a pimp or a predator does is get them strung out on crack. So you need to fix. So you do all you can to go make that money. Yes, Poppy. Oh, yes, Dad. I'm gonna do that, Daddy. Because you're fearsome that you just got through getting your eye healed yesterday. He cut your throat. You are trash to him. Because what you don't do, she will. That's my favorite. Because she's loyal to him, because she got fear and she got problems of her own. And your children, the women, girls are being taken for sex trafficking, human trafficking at the age of 9. Most celebrities, y'all remember that was named Weinstein, Epstein. Epstein got caught up. He was the #1 sex trafficker in the world. He had a whole island. A whole island of little girls and boys. And people with money were going to the island. It wasn't us. We can't even afford to go on a plane, we think. They on their own jets with their nice clothes on. The girls are all dressed up, smell all good looking, and they'll get what's called a lineup. And they'll come and choose which woman they want for the night. These are babes. That porno lifestyle, them girls don't want to be in porno. Therefore, half of them are doped up and they're doing videos because he told me to. And don't forget about the fact that a lot of girls that are young aged are what's called breeders, where they are made and forced to have babies all the time. They have a baby, 9 months later, they're pregnant again. 9 months later, they're pregnant again. By the time you're 25 years old, you're done. You're wore out. You strung out on drugs. You had a whole bunch of children that you have never seen any of your children. You don't get to be introduced to your baby, hold your baby, kiss your baby. You have the baby, you take the baby away. Done. Look at how they took, I hate to bring it up, but they took those Mexican children and put them in the concentration camps. Who knows where they are? Raise your hand.
Never happened.
And they're undocumented children. So they have no birth certificate, they have no social security number, they have no markings. So they could be anywhere and their parents have no right to go look for their own children. Then these children are put in these places, in these concentration camps in Texas, and they're caged in like animals. And how did half of the girls that are underage girls, not all of them pregnant, how? If you got no men on this side of the concentration camp, and you got the grown people over here, and the children are over here, how she get pregnant? But the guards walking freely around babies. And now this girl got a baby, she got a baby, she's pregnant, and even on Indian reservations. We think that Indians are only during Thanksgiving. We think about the Indians for that. We don't think about the Indians that were actually taken, killed, and they're being used for the same thing. And they're breeders. And the FBI does not even have the legal right to even go on territory and observe them. By law, there's no charges that can ever be put on them for sex trafficking. They have the right to do Indian children as they please, and there's nothing that nobody can do. So I want to go into that, you all. I want Tiffany to be able to go, and I want her to open up to you all about the emotional things that happen with this conversation. What does it look like for you as a person that has been abused, that has been abandoned, has been neglected? Because most times sex trafficking is a vulnerable position. I've been beaten, I've been abused, I've been neglected, I've been abandoned, I don't have no mama, I don't have no dad. I was in the foster system. That's $1 billion industry. Because you're an undocumented child. Your mama don't want you, or you may have died. Now you're in a system and they're able to take you from house to house to house to house. And the people that you're foster care parents, not saying all, but they're sex trafficking their babies off. Wonder why white people, not knocking nobody, I'm not, why they go and adopt black children. And why that was illegal in Liberia, Lebanon. They can't adopt any, they were not allowed to be able to get any more black children. They have to come over there and get other, go to other countries and do it. But certain African countries have cut off selling their children to Caucasian families. Because they're killing them for insurance policies, or they're sex trafficking these babies off. I'm not making it up. Go Google it on the internet, or even go YouTube it. But I want her to go into the effects of what sex trafficking or even our own personal lives are affected by. So Tiffany, it's all you.
First, I'd like to open up. I want to give the greetings and peace of Assalamu Alaikum. And just want to thank Sister Danielle for having me today to talk a little bit about the healing process, as well as to talk about self-love, self-esteem. Unfortunately, beginning with a little sister's story, I wanted to talk a little bit about this particular young lady. Her name is Crystal Kaiser. She's been in the news a lot lately. I'm sure you all have seen a picture of her, a little petite, young, beautiful little girl. She actually was, yes, that's a picture of her. She was actually caught up in the life of human trafficking when she was 16 years old. She met her sex trafficker. He was a 33-year-old man. His name is Bowler. I forgot his first name, I'm sorry. But his name is Bowler. And it's funny because her story is so familiar to a lot of the more recent televised stories that we see about young black girls. So when we start looking at the statistical data of who is trafficked the most, black girls just blow it out of the water. You know, black girls and women, especially in major metropolitan areas like Chicago, LA, New York. It goes from like something like 49% to all the way to 92%. So if you're in a major city like Dallas, Texas, your percentage of being trafficked goes up, especially if you're a black woman or a girl. This is something we have to look at in our community. And there's certain things that we need to do to tighten up on that, because it should be very alarming to us as a people that our daughters, our babies, as well as even our women, older women it's happening to, are being targeted. What makes these people feel comfortable coming into our communities and preying on our women, who we know the woman is very important. The woman is the head of the nation. She is what produces the nation. You know, through the woman's womb is where, you know, a new world comes into existence. So, you know, this has to be talked about and this has to be addressed. Like our sister said, the awareness has to come up, and there's things that can and need to be done in relationship to this. But back to this little sister, Crystal Kaiser. She's 16. She meets this older man. Well, first of all, there's always a history, like Sister Danielle said. And this goes into the healing process, to the self-love and the traumatic experiences that we undergo as the people that we've been undergoing since we set our foot here in America. See, that's something that we act like human trafficking is something so new. Sex trafficking, oh, what? This is so new. No. Our bodies have been used freely by all the world's people, but specifically Caucasians, since we set foot here in America. So that's over 465 years of us being just freely gone into, especially the black women and even the black men. They were used as butts. But the black woman was used, the slave master used to be able to come on into the quarters, whenever, she could be married, have a husband, she could even send him out, slave master come in and have his free reign with her daughters. So this is nothing new. So this young sister, this was happening to her. Met the young man, met the grown man, she's 16. So it started off with him paying, giving her gifts, taking her to dinner, doing things that she wasn't used to. And this can happen with the black or white man, but this particular man was a Caucasian man. And the funny thing is, as I'm reading this story, and as I was studying this subject matter to come and talk to you all today, the rabbit hole is just going deeper and deeper and deeper. And as I was trying to stay focused on the subject matter that I was given, which is the healing process. How do we heal? How do we build the self-esteem of our daughters? How do we build the self-esteem of ourselves so that we can have the self-love, so that we don't fall into some of these traps? I started realizing, wow, this little sister, she could be my little sister. She is my little sister, but she could be my biological little sister. She could be, my little cousin. And I see signs of this all the time in our community. But we're so judgmental. We're so judgmental no matter where we are. We're just judgmental. We're looking at the way she may be dressed. We're looking at the way that she may be carrying herself or acting out at school. All of those are signs and screams for help. Screams for help. And what's funny is, she just got involved with the guy, and pretty much he started pimping her out. And it's a website called Backdoor. It was a very popular website called Backdoor. And this particular website, they actually just shut it down last year. But it was part of the dark web, what they call the dark web, which is where people that like to buy prostitutes or pay for prostitutes, like Sister Danielle so beautifully touched on, the senators, the upper, the judges, the people that can't just go on the corner and pick somebody up, they go to this website, and it's part of the dark web. And there's babies on there. They have babies. When I say baby, she said 9 years old, sometimes younger than that. And they are making videos. The man that was exploiting her was making videos of her. Had over 20 videos they found when they searched his house. Over 20 videos of this young sister, and had actually exploited and was doing this to more than 20 other young ladies that were in similar circumstances that he was able to prey on. So, for me, when it comes to the healing process, what can we do? Just talked about preventive, but what can we do for healing? She's right now, just to kind of finish up her story, she ended up killing the man. He was threatening to kill her. It's kind of a similar story to Centonia Brown. I don't know if you all remember her, but she was big in the news. Light-skinned sister from, I believe, I forgot what city she was from. But she ended up getting they had given her life in prison, Centonia Brown. But she ended up serving 15 years for killing her sex trafficker. And there's so many other stories that I came across just like that, where, out of self-defense, they are fighting back. And because they're black or brown, they are serving terms and trying to be, put in life given life in prison. So right now they're fighting for her. She just got off on bond, $400,000 bond. She just got off with the Me Too movement that was happening. Awareness was drawn towards her and towards this Antonia Brown, some of the celebrities backed her. And hopefully we're hoping the same thing will happen with this young sister because she has a story. And at the time, she was underage, and so there's laws dealing with that. But at the end of the day, we have to look at our involvement with our daughters, our sons. Look at this culture within the Black community of. There's a culture within the Black community where it's hush hush. We don't talk about molestation. We don't talk about, oh yeah, Uncle Pookie used to touch me, Mama. Remember I mentioned, oh girl, that happened one time. It's a hush hush set. Then there's this culture of dressing our babies up. We see this is very popular just up until recently. Before the COVID, we have these parades. We have our babies out there popping, locking, and dropping it in parades. Even the hip hop culture, the music culture, everything is channeled into this one channel of exploitation of our women and girls. And we don't look at it in that light. We think it's cute, we think it's okay. But when it comes to the self-esteem piece, it's so powerful. Those images are so powerful that we're telling our daughters, we're telling our girls, and even our sons, that this is the standard. This is the standard. Nicki Minaj and the Cardi B, these are the standards that you have to level yourself up to in order to be wanted, to be desired, to be even considered beautiful. And even if we're not necessarily telling them that, we're allowing their minds to feed on that. We're not controlling the narrative as our parents may have controlled the narrative, or maybe they didn't have to do it so much because it was a different time and they didn't even show sex on TV. Nowadays, it's soft porn that you're looking at. But all of that is tied into the sex trafficking culture. And this is what we have to begin to really realize and understand. And we have to build our daughters up. We have to talk to our daughters. Even as they're babies, 3, 4 years old, we have to tell them that they're beautiful. Tell them their hair is beautiful. I wanted to touch on, when it comes to the self-esteem, how we make differences, how we talk about the light versus the dark. Oh, girl, you black, you getting black. You a girl, you said that, so you're going to get too black. The hair, nappy hair, good hair. This is all a sick, sadistic mentality that comes from white supremacy. It comes from the slave master. He put those guidelines in line to cause division amongst us. And to this day, we're perpetuating it with our babies. And then wondering why they grow up and they want to wear the purple wig, or why they want to be with Pookie. But Pookie cusses her out, treats her, but he's, light, or, it's just these things that we perpetuate as babies, in them as babies, and they just carry it out, and we wonder where it comes from. But we have a huge impact on our daughter's self-love, on our little cousin's self-love, how they feel about themselves, on our nieces, nephews. And we have a responsibility as a community to be more proactive in forming that narrative for them. As we see now, this Black Lives Matter, we're seeing what happened with our brother George Floyd, what's happening with every day we're hearing of a new brother or sister that's killed, Elijah, the little brother Elijah from Colorado that they choked out. It's been in the news every day. And so now this awareness of our blackness and us being proud and saying that our lives matter is becoming, it's never been out of style. We've been saying that since we set foot here, you know what I'm saying? But now it's becoming, celebrities are backing it and these corporations are backing it. Well, what is our part in that as a Black community? What is our part in that? And to try to counter some of what we see happening with this trafficking, because it's happening in a rampant fashion. It's so rampant, like Sis said, every 3 minutes our phones will be going off if they care about us. If Black Lives Matter to them, the way that it should matter to us, our phones will be going off constantly. So this is telling us that there is a disconnect. And I wanted to play a little clip of the sister talking in jail. She was being interviewed by a Washington Post reporter. And the Washington Post reporter asked her, she said, what attracted you to this guy? He's overweight, Caucasian, you're young, skinny, petite, beautiful young girl. What attracted you to this man? She said, well, she asked her, how did he make you feel? And she said, exquisite. As soon as she said that, I said, wow. Then she repeated, she said, he made me feel exquisite. He made me feel like I was wanted, like I was beautiful. And all that I would hear, in my community or from my, the people that I grew up around, which we know who that is that I'm too black, I'm too this, I'm nappy-headed. But he made me feel exquisite. He bought me gifts. He was just a sweetheart. She started going on and on about how this man made her feel. It's like, wow, why can't we do this for our own babies? And it goes so much deeper within what has happened to us, the things that we've been through, the trauma that we've been through. But we have to now start tapping into the healing process. And part of the healing is dealing with the mind. When you think about Jesus, we talk about Jesus and his revolutionary work that he did. And the time that we're in the time of looking at his work and actually trying to walk in his footsteps. We should be past the time of just talking about the price that he paid for us. We should be trying to walk in the footsteps that he walked in. Part of what he did is he made the blind see. He made the deaf to hear. And he also healed the mind or the mentality of the people. And so that's something that we have to really begin to delve deeper into, is what we can do for healing for ourselves as mothers, as grandmothers, as men even. The negative views or the skewed views that men have of women, that's a huge part of it. A huge part of it is the way that men view us. We try to be pleasing to a man, and their view is skewed based upon their mother or based upon what they've been through. Well, we have to go through a healing process now if we're going to save ourselves and save our community, save our children, because we are going to be held accountable. That's the time we're coming upon where we have to make our community a decent and safe place to live. If we don't begin to police and control our own communities, and like the white supremacists like to say, every time we say Black Lives Matter, they say, look at y'all, you're all killing yourselves. You're killing yourself every day. So what do you mean Black Lives Matter? Well, Black lives should matter to you guys. Well, hey, there's some truth to that. There's absolutely some truth to that. So let's make it matter and let's heal. Let's stop this culture of, oh, we can't talk about what Uncle Pookie did to you. No, let's talk about what Pookie did to you. Let's confront Pookie and let's take his head off. If Pookie doesn't, get better, if he's going to continue to perpetuate that cycle, because it not just damages the woman, but it totally destroys. And murder, it's a killing. It's an actual spiritual killing that takes place when there's molestation going on, when there's sexual exploitation going on like it is so rampant in our community. So as I was reading this sister's story, it just made me so sad because she has such a beautiful future in front of her. She plays violin. She even refers to herself as a violinist. I'm a violinist, but she just got caught up in a circumstantial situation, and unfortunately her mother had to work, and this is our reality. Mama working 2 jobs, father's not there, etc. She just was not being watched. She was not being loved and cared for in the manner that we should do for each other. And we used to have that sense of community. I know some of the older generation can bear witness that, if you see little used to see little Keisha on the corner, she talking to Billy, little Jimmy or whatever his name is from next door, and they being fast, whatever. You pull her tail coat. Hey, Keisha, it's 9 o'clock. You better get on home, girl. Get on. And we even had the clearance to spank her behind if she was disrespectful or whatever. She feared Miss Johnson on the corner. Oh, Miss Johnson looking, I can't be out here, Johnny. And it was a sense of community that we have lost. And we have to get back to, because no one cares about us like we care about us. And as we are seeing so very clearly, they don't have the concern, or our concerns are not their concerns. So as I close up my piece, the self-esteem piece, we need to encourage our daughters, tell them that they're beautiful. Nappy hair and all, if that's what you want to call it. But that's really, you gotta look deep into where that even comes from, that thinking. But encouraging them, loving them, giving them the freedom to speak on what has happened to them and their emotions and what they're feeling. Boundaries, letting them establish boundaries. We have a bad habit of doing that in our community too. Go over there and give Uncle Pookie a hug. I don't want to, Mama. I don't like Uncle Pookie. Girl, get over there and give your uncle a hug, girl. We'll go off and get upset if she doesn't want, but you don't know where that stems from. Children are very intuitive. Give her, they should eat little boys. Because this is happening to little boys too.
Yes.
Being molested and taken advantage of. Let them have their boundaries. And if they don't feel comfortable doing something, don't force that. But also just dealing with the mind and dealing with the healing of what has happened on a generational level. And where we can start with that is something called Dianetic auditing. That's something we can look deeper into. But that's really just dealing with, like Sis so beautifully said, the trauma that you have pushed so back far into the recesses of your mind where you're not even thinking about when you was 5 and your grandpa put his hand up your skirt that time, and how that made you feel. You putting that all the way back. But like she said, when the time comes for you to have to defend yourself, all of a sudden you freezing up because this is coming up into the forefront, and that should not be. We have to deal with these traumas. And the last thing I wanted to say is that Jesus came. We forget that he came to free us and to put us in, set us in heaven, set us in a better condition. And we don't have to continue to just cope with things. We have to begin to deal with these things, or else the cycle, it will never complete, will never end. And our babies will deal with it, and our babies, their babies will deal with it. It'll just be a continuous cycle. So this is a beautiful forum. I thank our sister for having us here at the sanctuary. I thank Sister Danielle for asking me to be on the panel, and I would love to come back at another time and talk more about the healing process and what that entails, because it is a lot that goes into it. But we can start with just encouraging our daughters, being standing guard over our households and over our children, what they are digesting, music-wise, visually-wise, how they're dressing, all of that, like she said, all of that plays a part into the sex trafficking thing, because they are targeted when they're dressed a certain way. They are targeted when they have a certain mentality about how they need to look or how they need to present themselves in order to be attractive to a man. That shouldn't even be in the forefront of their minds, 18, 19, 20 years old. They should be thinking about education, thinking about intellectually growing and getting themselves to a place where they can build a life for themselves. But that's not in the forefront. And they're being taken advantage of because of that. So just wanted to say that. Yeah. And that is it.
Yes, ma'am. I want to go quickly with you all before we end this beautiful broadcast. I want to talk about, she put the icing on the cake, but we want to definitely, for parents, start looking and watching your children's activity. Their mood changes, their appetite loss, their secretive behaviors, their frustration, their anger. What made you mad? All I did was ask you, don't give me the ketchup. You just blew up, right? We want to watch their emotion. It's our responsibility as the parent of the house. They're your friends, that's fine, whatever your household like, but I need you all to start looking at your children and your boys. Sex trafficking does not have to always be a away situation. Your child will come home every night from football practice, track practice, choir rehearsal, and come home and eat dinner and be with you and not know your child is part of a sex ring. You didn't even know it. Children, the natural thing about the body is it's made to tell on itself. A murderer will leave evidence. Every time it's just a matter of you finding what it is. So in that, we want to watch our children. Do not allow your children to be in their bed on social media. What you in the bed for? What you doing? Dang, mama, look. We focus on them having sex. Nah, priorities are wrong. Who's on the computer? I'm talking to my friend. Who? Where you meet her from? Where you meet him from? How I know? I didn't meet them. Because he may say he's 12, 13, 15, 17, 18. He may be a 35-year-old man that you've never met. Your children should never associate with strangers. We were taught as children, stranger danger is real. We were taught, don't talk to strangers as children. Now we're getting in strange vehicles, we're living Uber, we're talking to strange people on social media. Now the roles have been reversed. It's a reason for that. To protect your child so when they go away to college or whatever they life chooses for them, you have raised and have delicately gave them everything they need to be successful. Get out of your own feelings. If you have been molested as a parent, as a mother, as a father, address your pain.
That's right.
So you can clearly see your child's pain. You don't see it because you got your own book. So don't let your children be on social media all day. It's like crack to these children. Where's my phone? It's only been, I got notifications. Hold on, my phone beeping. Calm down. The whole household is on hostage because your child can't find her phone. And we as mothers, we bad too. You see my phone? It's bad. Because you have to keep tuned in to what's going on. But guess what? That itself is a whole different conversation. But as a mother, protect your daughters.
Yes.
She may want to wear skinny jeans. She may not want to. We grew up in church, you had to wear, we had church clothes.
Yes.
We had party clothes. We had school clothes. We had play clothes. You didn't wear church clothes during play clothes. They didn't go together. Now we just mix it. Now you come on now. It was a reason why grandma said cross your ankles and not your legs. It was a reason why you had to wear pantyhose. You know they was black and we black, but we got on white oatmeal knee-highs with. But that's a whole different conversation. But we were taught certain standards. Now our girls have no standards. Because mama doing this, her daughter doing this, okay, because Nicki Minaj did it, not knocking the sister. She on her hustle. But at the same time, we have to bring these things back. Because the men see the lack of care in these girls.
Yes.
They see the lack of care in our sons. They watching it. Mom and dad are not involved. He go to choir rehearsal by himself. He go to track practice by himself. He go to basketball practice. Oh, won't you stay a little while longer? They're watching the lack of.
Yes.
So parents step up to the plate. Get involved in your children. You're having these children by the grace of God. God is allowing you to be the adult in the situation. Be that. And for those who don't have children, watch the children around you. You see something, you say something. That can look right.
Yes.
That looks strange. Because when we go into a community and we see a black baby with a white person, it's cool. But we see a black man with a white baby, the whole store is shut down. Who you with? We don't suck the little girl who's with the man who's the pimp or the predator. We see the girl, a whole bunch of girls with him who don't talk. Hey, how y'all doing? And he's the only one who responds for her. You see the little girl with the little bracelets on their arm. Pink means this, purple means that. They have on certain jackets with emblems indicating they're part of a sex trafficking ring. Watch these things. Your children go to school with these very little girls who are being sex trafficked and don't even know it. She's quiet. She don't say much. She don't talk a lot. But she's being pimped by somebody who's forcing her to do these things, but she comes to school every day. She comes to church and mosque every Sunday. And you never know because you're not watching because you're in your own stuff. So adults, open your eyes. It's 2020. It's not 1955 anymore. We're in a modernized industry. We're in a modernized world. Keep abreast of what's going on. Stay tuned in, parents. Because your children are being watched. And these sick-minded individuals are watching your babies. They watching you. And you have lack of care now because you're so tuned in to what's going on with yourself. Address yourself. Cover down And with that, begin to start praying more.
Yes.
Start connecting to the Creator more. That will be able to come through the things that you do and the way you think, because now you're connected. But when you disconnect yourself from God, it shows through your work, through your conversation, through your actions, through your hairstyles, through your clothing attire, through your car, with your house. Like your house ain't clean because you ain't functioning right. And they always say a God cannot function in clutter. That's real. Your life will be cluttered. So if God is not within you, and God is not forefront of your emotion, it's going to show. People gonna come and say, "What's wrong with you?" Ain't nothing wrong with me. Yes, it is. You got on 2 different shoes and you don't even know it. Because you ain't thinking, "Hey, I done burnt the beans." You're not here. You're not in the present time. You're not functioning on right now because you got so much going on, but your children hurt too. They're stressed out, school is stressful. Peer pressure is stressful. Just imagine how we were. Everybody wanted the lottos back in the day. Everybody wanted the British Lights back in the day. Remember, sisters? Everybody wanted the lot of dollars in the cross-color clothes. The parents couldn't afford it. Your children go through the same peer pressure. We was never headed in, and we gonna be never headed down. Now little girls want sew-ins. Now little girls want to get their hair, nails done. Mamas do too. Don't have them be mocked. It's not cool to be mocked. It's a reality. But take care of yours. Because your hair is done. Your nails done, mother. Why she gotta walk around here looking like she come from Color Purple? It's not fair. So again, we want to stay connected and tuned in to what's going on, you know. Stay connected. Watch the news. Watch the media. Watch your children's gestures. Don't let them be on social media. Give them a time span. Be on there for an hour. Block it. Matter of fact, check it.
Yes.
What's your phone? I don't know. Get the fumbling, bumbling, going through. Calm down, okay? Whoa. Check your phone. Who is he? Don't do it once, mom and dad. Do it often. Keep it on their head game. But what they're going to wind up doing, they're going to wind up being smarter than you. In their mind, all right? Like you wasn't 16. Oh, okay. So they try to be more creative with it. Guess what? No. Start going through the actual act. What the app says, clean up my room. But when you go into the app, it's a whole different window of what? I keep hearing I see you. Okay? So stay tuned in. Sex trafficking is real. I want you all to stay abreast of it. Be safe. Make good decisions. Protect yourself. Be your biggest advocate, your best protector. Guard your children. Guard your home. Guard what you say you love it. You protect what you love to do.
That's right.
Protect what you love. If you don't love it, then guess what? What you here for? Because God said what you don't do, somebody else will. And that pimp will take care of your child. Okay? So I hope that our information we gave you all was beneficial, life-changing for you. Tiffany did a wonderful job. Thank you for your information. That's real, you all. Her story is real. This information is real. It's not TV. This is real life stuff. Pray more. Connect to the Creator more. Build your relationship with your God. Find out, and when you get home, or if you're at home, look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love myself. You. How often do we look at ourselves without having to put on makeup? Look at you and find out who you are. Who are you? Love yourself. And with that, when you love self, you prevent things around you from happening because you protect and you love yourself. And if you love yourself, he sees that. No means no. In many languages. Thank you all for your time and your attention. Also, I want to share, I have weekly broadcasts on conversations about sex trafficking, and you can go to National Network View on Facebook. I do a live broadcast every Saturday at 3 p.m. I do a report talking about boys and sex trafficking right now. That's the reality. Boys are being sex trafficked. They're not untouchable. So go to National Network View Facebook page. I'm also on social media. I'm on Instagram as well. Check me out. Stay tuned in, connected, and we're definitely gonna make some changes happening. With you all's help, we can change the world. Awareness is key. Knowledge is key. We take it step by step. We can't let go. We can't give up because it has to be fixed. Thank you all. You all have a wonderful day. Alicia, you coming up?